My point to you, which provokes me to take this discussion further, Sadhguru. Why have we become, like, have we insulated ourselves? The better we do, the more we want to cut ourselves off from our own country and our surroundings. And I agree with your previous point. In 1997, Sadhguru, I was in NDTV. There was a story which came out, a reporter called Sampath Mahapatra called me. And he said that there is a story I want to go and report. And we needed approval from the headquarters to send the reporter down there. Sampath went there and he said there's a village where people are dying. We sent him there. When he went there, he said that there was an entire village which was dying. And the reason for that was horrifying. There was complete starvation in that village. There was a drought, there was no health facilities, there was not a grain of rice. So the people of this area, which is the KBK, Kalahandi, Bolangir, Koraput belt in Orissa, started taking the seeds of mangoes, putting it into muddy water and making a soup of it. That, because it was so hot, started becoming rotten. And so it was a rotten mango gruel that was prepared. And because they were so hungry, and no mother can see her child starve, they were poisoning themselves to death because they were so hungry they had to eat something. In my life, I remember at that time as a reporter, I stood outside gate number 1 of Parliament. I was so angry, and I confronted the then food minister, who said to me that इस बड़े देश में 20-30 लोग मर जाते हैं, आप बात का बतंगड़ बना देते हैं. And I was shocked and horrified, Sadhguru. Till this date, I feel, and people say to me, why do you scream so much? I say, because in this country, you don't yell, you don't scream, nobody gives a damn. I still do believe that in this country. We believe in that chalta hai attitude because we think everything's okay with us, why should we care about the rest of the world? We're growing, but the chasm in our country is also growing. Between the rich and the poor, between the haves and the have-nots, between those who have everything and those who don't have any shelter. And yet we feel happy enough to cut ourselves off from it. Is it true that we spend a large amount of our time cutting ourselves off from our own country? Is this not one of the greatest problems of India today? That we, the privileged sections of India, have cut ourselves off from the rest of India. And is there a solution for it?
See, the question is not about the disconnect between the well-to-do and the not-so-well-to-do or the impoverished regions of our nation. We have not invested enough in the fundamental nature of our humanity. We've become many things other than being human. If you sat here as just a human being, it would be very natural for you that your heart beats for everything around you. But now you become so many things, starting from gender, language, culture, religion, race, ethnicity. In many ways we have identified ourselves. Because of these identities, all these identities give you a certain sense that you can undermine your humanity. You cannot undermine your humanity if you did not have these identities or if you did not give it too much priority. All of us have those identities at a certain level. Cultural identities are there, language identities are there, but they are not fundamental to us. Our fundamental nature is that we are life. If you sat here as life, you would reverberate with every life. Nobody had to tell you, you would be that way. But that has not happened. That is because we are a moral country. We've never had codes of morality in this nation. We have always managed populations because in every generation, they were enlightened beings, hundreds of them. And so we managed human consciousness in a certain way. By making people conscious, we manage situations in a beautiful way. Wherever those people did not come or not enough were there anarchy happened, chaos happened, because we have never had a set of morality. Because morality makes you act, but doesn't transform you. For example, I'm sorry, I'm not commenting on the theme of the club. For example, the word service, leaving the theme of this. See, it's like this. If you… let's say there is a child starved out on the street. If you pick up the child and feed this child and take care of this child, you think it is service. But if you pick up your own child and do that, you don't think it is service. What is the difference, I'm asking? For one, your heart is beating, for the other, it is not. So the barrenness of heart is the basis of all this. We're always trying to do good. You don't have to do any good. You just have to become a full-fledged human being. A full-fledged human being means a natural conscious response to everything. And what best you could do. And that's all a man can do. That you are at your best always to everybody and everything. Are you doing the greatest? Maybe not, but I'm doing my best. If every human being does their best in every sphere of life, with every life that they come in touch with, something will happen. But above all, this is a more large-scale problem, that there is lack of planning, lack of policy, lack of corrections, and irresponsible population explosion. In 1947, we were only 33 crores. Today we are 120 crores or 25 crores. 4 times over in 70 years is irresponsible reproduction. This is not because we have over-reproduced, we must understand this. In 1947, the average life expectancy of an Indian was only 28 years. Today we are reaching somewhere 63, 64, which is a great achievement. We should further push it. But on an average, a woman used to go into pregnancy when she was 14, 15 or 16. Today we've pushed it to something like 19, 20 is the average when they're getting pregnant. So by the time she's 65 or 70, there are 4 generations behind her, or 3 generations behind her and 1 or 2 generations ahead of her. That means right now in many families there are 5 generations living. This is not good. This is very brutal what I'm saying, I know. But at any time, there is space only for 3 generations. Your parents, yourself and your children. There can't be 5 generations living. That's what is happening right now in this country and in many other places, especially in this country. 5 generations are living, so there is no space. Once there is such a load, people will keep their humanity in the attic and go about brutally. That child who comes and knocks on your traffic space, I would cry at one time. Now I'm trying to look down, because every time I don't have money to pull out, most of the time I don't have, I have to ask the driver who's driving, please give me some money. So I try to look down. So you're trying to put down your humanity for some time, but it would be natural for me to pull out whatever I have and give it to him. But now you can't do it because it's everywhere. It's too much of a problem for you to address individually. Wherever you can do, whatever you can do, you do, but you're not able to address everything slowly. You try to insulate your humanity. This is what is happening. It is not that people have become brutal, it's not that people have become inhuman, because the problem is so pervasive, you're not able to address it.
Has hate increased after Trump? Has hate increased after Trump?
It is not increased, it is just that it's little emboldened. It's not increased. I spent substantial time in United States, in and out. It was always there. Now it is finding expression. But I think that's a temporary upsurge, I think it'll control itself. Law enforcement will take charge after some time, they'll pick up a few people, handle that. But hate crimes have been happening all the time in America.